It's time for overtime.
You ready?
No!
In the world of sports, it's all about the playmakers in today's headlines, from locals to the pros, with interviews from local standouts and sports all-stars across the country that will have you talking.
Jamal Shed down to 9. Shed on the bounce. Shed the blow-by. Shed driving to the hoop. Underneath for Robert. Two-hand slam.
Hear from coaches to players, sports analysts, and broadcasters who are a part of the action every day. Overtime, now with Bert Rameen on ESPN 102.3 AM 1000 KSOO, Sioux Falls sports leader.
Just a little bit past noon on a Friday. It's the perfect time for the High Noon Showdown, brought to you by the all-new Uncle Ed Specialty Meats. We got Jared and we got Taylor on the line, looking to duke it out, looking to beat each other up and start out the weekend either with a smile or a black eye. Not really, but the High Noon Showdown always brought to you by Uncle Ed's, the all-new Uncle Ed Specialty Meats out there on the east side. And I got to tell you, I'm either heading out there this weekend or next because it's grilling season, people. At nighttime, you got to fill your neighborhood with the delicious aroma of the grill. And Uncle Ed's has you covered. They've got everything you need, including things to enhance your grill game. They got sausage. They got burgers. They got bison. They got chicken. They got shrimp, they got cheese, they got everything you need and could possibly put on a grill at the all-new Uncle Ed Specialty Meats out on the east side of Sioux Falls. Jared and Taylor are our guests and are our combatants today, if you will, for the High Noon Showdown. First things first, Jared was our caller number 2. Jared, welcome to the show. How you doing on a Friday, my friend?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing great. I'm fired up, Jared. I'm ready to rumble. Do you want your questions from List A or List B today, Jared?
List A.
List A for Jared. Taylor, longtime listener, longtime caller, is on List B. Jared, you're going to be up to bat here first with List A. Let's do it. It's time for the Friday edition of the High Noon Showdown.
You want a piece of me? I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing. Can you feel the tension in the air right now? I know I can.
Doesn't have to be a fight in a parking lot, although we'd love to see that, actually. It's time to duke it out in this week's edition of the High Noon Showdown.
High Noon Showdown brought to you by the all-new Uncle Ed Specialty Meats out on the east side of Sioux Falls. Jared says, hey, I'm an A student. I want my questions from List A. We'll hope he's on his A game as well. Jared back on the line with us now. He's up to bat first. Jared, what jersey number does Minnesota Timberwolves player Jaden McDaniels wear? Got a
9.
couple seconds. That's not correct. 9 is not correct. The correct answer is 3 in question number 1. Taylor, I hope you're a Timberwolves guy. I think you are. What jersey number does fan favorite Naz Reid wear for Minnesota?
11.
11's right, Taylor. You're off to a good start. Now, put the pressure on Jared if you get this right. What was the first college that a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Baker Mayfield played football for?
Texas Tech.
That is correct. You didn't sound so sure, but Taylor's off to a 2-0 start. Back on hold he goes. By the way, Baker Mayfield, you want to impress your friends with some trivia, was the first ever true freshman walk-on starting quarterback in college football history. Speaking of college football, Jared's back on the line. Jared, Caleb Williams just went number 1 overall to the Chicago Bears a couple weeks ago. What college did he start his college football career at?
Oklahoma.
That's correct. You're still alive, Jared. You can equalize the score if you can tell me 2 of the 4 teams that are still alive in the NHL's Eastern Conference playoffs. Again, name 2 teams that are still alive in the NHL's Eastern Conference playoffs. There's 4 total. Give me 2.
Boston and New York.
Boston and New York. What's the New York what?
Rangers.
That's correct. I just needed to get that clarified. Otherwise, people would come after me. Taylor is back on. Taylor, you can win with the correct answer on this one. Name 2 teams that are still alive in the NHL's Western Conference playoffs. There's 4 teams still alive. Tell me 2 of them.
The Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche.
That's correct. Taylor, welcome back to the show. You're off to the right track, and you're our winner today. I got Twins tickets. You got 8 of them for next week. Yankees are in town. Congratulations. I'll get you hooked up with those, and you get to up your grill game. Uncle Ed's Specialty Meats, my friend. Job well done, Taylor. Good job today, my friend. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks, Bert. Have a good one.
All right, you as well. Taylor, our big winner today. The High Noon Showdown, always brought to you by the all-new Uncle Ed's Specialty Meats out on the east side of Sioux Falls. If you're looking to up the grill game, that is the place to go in the Sioux Empire. From meat to accessories to spices, everything you need at the all-new Uncle Ed's Specialty Meats. Still to come on today's show, Friday Parlay Live will crack open in about 10 or 12 minutes on the show and open up to entries on Twitter. New Sioux Falls Stampede head coach Ryan Cruthers will join us around 12:30 today, and we'll finish up the show with the latest and greatest in the good, the bad, and the ugly. And there is a lot to get to there. NHL Finals from yesterday. 2 games went on. The New York Rangers and Carolina Hurricanes have been separated by just mere inches through the first 2 games of the series. Game 3 was last night. That continued, and the success continued for New York on the road.
Left side of Lafreniere sends it in. Round the boards it goes. Missed by Orlov. Played it. Score! Score! Yes! Yes! The Rangers win it in overtime and lead the series 3-0.
3-0 indeed, and it's been a razor-thin margin for the Rangers, but they're getting the job done. Win in Raleigh in overtime, 3-2 last night. That audio very excitable, courtesy of 98.7 ESPN New York. Other final last night, Colorado and Dallas tussled in Game 2. Stars take a big lead again, and they hang on to the big lead to the tune of a 5-3 win.
Miro Heiskanen. Leg kick, shot, score! The Stars get their second on the power play. Heiskanen, the lead to the bump line, might be his second on the power play, and Dallas has a 3-0 lead.
Dallas would win it last night in Game 2 on their home ice 5-3. That series tied 1 apiece. KTCK, the audio. Tonight in the NHL, Panthers at Bruins Game 3, 6 o'clock on TNT. That series tied 1 game apiece. And the Canucks have an early lead, 1-0 in a series. Game 2, 9 o'clock tonight as they play host to rival Edmonton at home. NBA Finals last night, couple lopsided spreads heading in, and that was not what we got, as we had a couple outright upsets last night. Dallas wins on the road over OKC. Cleveland wins on the road as a 12-point dog last night in Boston, 118-94.
It was a Boston Sea Party, as in Cavaliers, 118-94. As the Cavaliers will take the shot clock violation, that leaves 3.6 to go. The Cavaliers have tied this series at 1 game apiece. Cavs win 118-94.
Quite the upset last night. Donovan Mitchell, a big part of that for Cleveland. 29 points and 7 rebounds. WTAM, the audio there. Dallas over OKC. This one also a surprise. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was steady. 33 points and 12 rebounds. Doncic just a little bit better. 29 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists as Dallas comes through to equalize the series.
Doncic, slow dribble into the jump circle, left off of Lively. Solid screen to let him step back and take a 3 and hit it.
Oh, he's feeling fine, and he talks to the Thunder bench.
Yeah, staring down that Thunder bench, and a few words there, too, and a timeout by Mark Daigneault with 9 minutes remaining.
Both of those series now tied at a game apiece. Kendrick Perkins, former NBA standout, had this to say about the Boston Celtics and their championship aspirations.
The team that has the championship or bust target on their back is the Boston Celtics. All season long, people have been saying this team has the best starting 5 in basketball, right? It's time for this team to complete the mission. They're the only team that's in the playoffs right now that has the target on their back of being of either championship or bust. There's nothing else in the middle.
That's Kendrick Perkins there. Tonight in the NBA, Knicks at Pacers Game 3, 6 o'clock on ESPN. Knicks lead that series 2-0. It's a 2-0 lead for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Haven't said that a whole lot through their franchise history, but they're up on Denver and at home tonight for Game 3, 8:30 on ESPN. Game 4 for Minnesota and Denver Sunday night at 7 o'clock on TNT. Major League Baseball yesterday, the Minnesota Twins keep on cruising, keep on moving, and it was Ryan Jeffers, another big homer to propel Minnesota to another win, their 22nd of the season.
A ball and 2 strikes to Ryan. And this ball hit well to left field. Rojas chasing after it, looking up. That ball is gone, skipping off the top of the flower beds and up into the bleachers. 8th home run of the year for Ryan Jeffers.
It was a home run kind of day for Minnesota. 11-1 winners in the 4th game of a 4-game series against Seattle. Minnesota takes 3 of those games. New record 22-15. Pablo Lopez, the winner yesterday. His new record 4-2 on the season. Now on to other finals. Yesterday, Colorado got their 9th win of the year, 9-1 over visiting San Francisco. White Sox edge out the Guardians 3-2 from the South Side. Chicago now 10-28. Milwaukee wins over St. Louis 22-15. The new record for the Brew Crew, who finds a little magic at home.
1-0, 2 balls and a strike in the pitch. Hit to right center and deep. Way back. Warning track. Get up. Gone. For Rhys Hoskins. And it is 3-0 Brewers.
7-1 would be the final. WTMJ, the audio. 22-15, the new record for Milwaukee. Other final, Kansas City beats up on the Angels 10-4 on the road. Today and tonight in Major League Baseball, matchups are as follows. Cubs at Pirates, Astros at Tigers, Guardians at White Sox. Brewers are home to the Cardinals. Rockies play host to the Rangers, and the Royals visit the Angels once again. Minnesota Twins visit the Blue Jays in Toronto. 5:30 pregame, 6:07 the official start time. Twins weekend schedule Saturday 2:10 the start, Sunday 12:35. Pregame coverage roughly a half hour earlier than that, right here on your home for Minnesota Twins baseball, ESPN Sioux Falls. AL Central standings as we creep into the weekend. Cleveland still hanging out of the top spot, just 1.5 games up on both Minnesota and Kansas City. Cleveland's 24-14. Twins are 22-15. Detroit back there 19-18 in 4th place, 4.5 games back. And Chicago buried already, 14 games back, 10-28, the record. Nothing new from the NFL as far as events go, but the next one, schedule release, is the next big off-season milestone. That looms next Wednesday night. NASCAR race over the weekend, Sunday from Darlington, 2 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. And PGA Tour golf continues from down in Charlotte, North Carolina for the Wells Fargo Championship. Started yesterday, runs through Sunday for the latest of the PGA Tour. WNBA preseason basketball. Why are we talking about it? Because Caitlin Clark was involved, and Clark goes for 12 points and had a lot of good things to say about her home debut in Indianapolis.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I thought they were loud. I thought they were into it. It was fun to see, some people in some Iowa stuff and then a lot of people in fever gear. And, this is a preseason game on a Thursday night and there's 13,000 people here. I think that just shows, what it's going to be like for us all season.
Just game number 2 of the WNBA career for Caitlin Clark. Still the preseason, but a win for her Indiana Fever last night over Atlanta, 83-80, the final. Now into your Reliabank headlines of the day. 9th-rated Augustana baseball team has earned a spot in the final of the winners bracket with a 12-5 win over Wayne State at Municipal Ballpark. The Vikings, now 43-8, will play Minnesota State today at noon. They're underway. GoAugie.com/live for a spot in the NSIC championship game. The Wildcats, 27-22 following yesterday's loss, fell to the losers bracket. The NSIC player of the year and perhaps likely the player of the day yesterday for Augustana was Jack Hines, 4 for 5 from the plate, 3 runs scored, 4 RBI, and also hit a double and a home run in the contest. Again, underway right now. Augustana and Minnesota State got going at noon today. GoAugie.com/live. South Dakota head men's basketball coach Eric Peterson has made a new addition to the staff, adding Sean Smith to the coaching staff down in Vermilion. Smith joins the Coyotes after 2 years as the head men's basketball coach at D3's North Park University. He was D3Hoops.com's National Coach of the Year last year after guiding the team to their first CCIW tournament championship, led the Vikings to 24 wins, 13 conference wins, the first conference tournament win and tournament championship for North Park this last year, the first NCAA playoff appearance since 1990, and so many more accolades moving forward. Sean Smith, the newest member of the coaching staff down in Vermilion. More on the coach at GoYotes.com. Speaking of those Yotes, South Dakota did lose to South Dakota State and Kansas City on day 2 of the Summit League tournament in Brookings yesterday, bringing their season to a close with a final mark of 23-30. More softball talk. Augustana softball keep on marching into the next round as they earned a Thursday night win against Oklahoma Baptist by a score of 1-0 to open up their NCAA tournament. They're still in the regional. Grace Glanzer pitched her 4th complete game shutout of the postseason as she helped propel the team to victory. The Vikings now gear up to face Pittsburgh State. That game is underway right now, and the winner of today's game will advance to the championship on Saturday, while the losing team will still have an opportunity to make the championship, but will play in a 4 o'clock double elimination tournament game this afternoon. So Augie, win and you're in the regional final. Lose, you're not done yet. New record for Augie after a win yesterday in game number 1, 46-13 on the season. Another South Dakota native has landed with some green and gold folks that love cheese out to our east in Wisconsin. NFL reporter Aaron Wilson broke the news yesterday that the Packers have signed former San Francisco 49ers defensive tackle Spencer Waege via the waiver wire. Despite being named an FCS All-American at North Dakota State several times during his college career, Waege went undrafted in 2023, leading to the Niners signing him as an undrafted free agent. According to Pro Football Focus, Waege played 55 defensive snaps for the Niners during his rookie preseason, mostly as a 3-tech defensive tackle, but was unable to make the active roster at cutdowns. It wasn't surprising as an undrafted free agent, but Waege gets another opportunity with a way cooler organization out in Green Bay. Another South Dakota native out there with the green and gold, joining Timberlake's Tucker Kraft. Player intros at the WNBA preseason games do not typically elicit the reaction we got last night in front of 13,000 fans at a preseason game at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis for the debut at home for Caitlin Clark. Clark did have a tough shooting night by her standards. She finished 4 of 12 from the field, 2 of 9 from downtown, scored 12 points, but also dished out 6 assists and grabbed 8 boards while facing a physical defense and double teams at times. Officially, the attendance came in at 13,028 individuals. That is nearly 3 times larger than the slightly more than 4,000 per game that Indiana averaged for their regular season games last year. Preseason WNBA basketball, more than 3 times the attendance this year than the average regular season game last year in Indianapolis. That is called a new culture and a new era of not just Indiana Fever basketball, but basketball in the WNBA in general. Brady Tkachuk was named the captain of the 2024 U.S. team for the IIHF Men's World Hockey Championship on Thursday. Tkachuk, who is the captain of the Ottawa Senators, will wear the C for Team USA when they play Sweden on Friday out in Czechia. New York Islanders forward Brock Nelson, Blackhawks defenseman Seth Jones, and others will serve as alternate captains for Team USA. Tkachuk, 24 years old, scored a career-high 37 goals to go along with 37 assists over 81 games this year for Ottawa, and he'll be playing in his first IIHF Men's World Championship, and he served as captain of the gold medal winning U.S. team back in 2017 for the under-18 squad. Lastly, let's finish up your Reliabank headlines of the day with this. Mike Budenholzer has emerged as the Phoenix Suns' top target to become the franchise's next head coach, and discussions are expected to move rapidly toward a deal, according to ESPN yesterday. The Suns let go of head coach Frank Vogel yesterday afternoon after 1 season as a coach, and momentum on a Budenholzer deal, including him working on building an assistant coaching staff to bring with him, according to sources. The looming hiring of Budenholzer comes with significant pressure and expectations for the Suns. The roster's been constructed around the likes of Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, bringing championship aspirations out to the desert, along with a slim margin for error. Just how slim? I'm talking firing Coach Vogel after a playoff appearance and a loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves as the lower seed. Slim. That's the latest and greatest in your ReliaBank headlines of the day. As always, for a better local banking option, give them a visit, ReliaBank.com, or in person here in the 605. Are you anxious to win big with the Friday Parlay? You'll have your opportunity next. I'll get it posted up live on the air with you coming up next, the Friday Parlay. Before long, new Sioux Falls Stampede head coach Ryan Cruthers will join us in about 10 minutes on this Friday edition of Overtime.
Get ESPN with the free app and online. Grab your phone or call us up on your smart device. Now let's get you back to Overtime with Bert Rameen on ESPN 102.3 and AM 1000 KSOO.
Coming down the home stretch like a racehorse here on a Friday of Overtime. Thanks so much for tuning us in as always. ESPN 102.3 AM 1000 KSOO. Still to come, new Sioux Falls Stampede head coach Ryan Cruthers makes his debut on Overtime in about, 5-6 minutes here on the show. Also rounded out with the good, the bad, and the ugly. But it's Friday Parlay time, Friday Parlay season here on Overtime. You can find it on Twitter or X or whatever the heck you want to call it. It's still Twitter.com, so I'm calling it Twitter. Don't drop the ball. Enter now for the Friday Parlay, always brought to you by Possibilities and High-End Glass and Tobacco. If you like basketball, if you love the NBA, it is your kind of parlay this weekend. You got to tell me who wins against the spread on Saturday. OKC plus 2.5 at Dallas. Boston at Cleveland plus 7.5 on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Game 4, Nuggets and Timberwolves. We don't know what's going to happen in Game 3, but I'm guessing on a spread for Game 4, Denver plus 2.5 at Minnesota for Game 4. Tiebreaker total points in that Game 4 on Sunday between the Nuggets and the T-Wolves. Enter now. Minnesota Twins tickets up for grabs for Saturday, May the 25th. And more in a huge prize pack as always promised by the Friday Parlay, brought to you by Possibilities and High-End Glass and Tobacco. One more time, OKC plus 2.5 at Dallas, Boston at Cleveland with the Cavs getting 7.5 points on their home floor on Saturday. Sunday, Denver plus 2.5 at Minnesota. That is Game 4. Not Game 3, Game 4 on Sunday. And the tiebreaker also Game 4 Sunday, Denver at Minnesota. Total points in that ball game. Twins tickets in the prize pack are for Saturday, May the 25th. Have a great trip out to the Twin Cities. You got to enter to win big. If you don't have a Twitter account, make one. Give us a follow. Enter for your chance to win at ESPN Sioux Falls on Twitter. That's the Friday Parlay, always brought to you by Possibilities and High-End Glass and Tobacco. We're going to take the break and welcome and say hello to another new head coach in our area. We met new USD women's basketball head coach Carrie Amy in hour number 1. And now it's time to meet the new Sioux Falls Stampede head coach. Ryan Cruthers announced last week as the new head coach of the Stampede. He joins us next on the Friday edition of Overtime.
Overtime Day. Unwrap your sandwich and get caught up with Bert Rameen on ESPN 102.3 and AM 1000 KSOO. Sioux Falls sports leader.
Right back with you. Final half hour of the show for the week. Appreciate you tuning us in all week long right here on ESPN Sioux Falls. It's time now to meet another new head coach in our area. New Sioux Falls Stampede head coach is Ryan Cruthers. He makes his debut here on Overtime. Newest head coach of the 3-time Clark Cup champion Sioux Falls Stampede. Joins us on the ESPN hotline. Coach, it's a blast to have you. Welcome back to Sioux Falls. How you doing?
Thank you very much. I'm doing great. Really excited to be back in Sioux Falls. Obviously love the organization and the city, and it's an exciting time.
It's very exciting, and I know we welcomed you back with some pretty good weather for the last week or so, at least relative to Sioux Falls. You never know what you're going to get this time of year. Coach, let's talk a little bit about the opportunity back here with Sioux Falls. You've been here before. Let us in on your kind of recent history coaching-wise and what the opportunity means to you to lead this great USHL club here in 605.
Yeah, it's great. So, 2 seasons ago, I had the privilege of being an assistant coach with the Stampede. I had worked in the USHL before as a head coach with the Chicago Steel, and junior hockey is my passion. I've coached junior hockey most of my coaching career at various levels, all of the levels actually. And the USHL is the top of junior hockey in the world, the most talent. I feel like you could have the most impact on young men's lives, not just on the ice but off the ice. And I always wanted to get back to being a head coach in that league, and I had a great experience as an assistant coach, under Jim and Tony and Eric and what we had going on. But, at the root of it, I do love and enjoy being a head coach. And I had an opportunity to be a head coach at the professional level in Fayetteville this year, and I really enjoyed it and loved it. And I took that opportunity, and then just luck had it. Everybody knew I wanted to be back in the USHL when I had the opportunity. And after one season in Fayetteville, I got the opportunity to come back to Sioux Falls, which to me is the best city, it's the best fans, the best arena, the best organization you can work for. So I'm super grateful for this opportunity and this challenge, and I can't wait to get started.
And we are very excited to have you as the next leader of the Sioux Falls Stampede. Again, for all things Stampede Hockey, sfstampede.com. Plenty of news coming out, whether it's draft picks or accolades or otherwise. sfstampede.com, the latest there. New Sioux Falls Stampede head coach Ryan Cruthers, our guest here, Friday edition of Overtime. When it comes to your coaching style and your influences, you've been there in Chicago. You were down there on the hottest city in the planet, in my opinion, Fayetteville, North Carolina. One of the hotter places I've ever been. Let's talk about some influences, coaching history, man. What is kind of your identity out there on the bench, and who are some of your big influences in your coaching career?
Yeah, so I think, our brand and style, which people will get accustomed to, is a puck possession team that's highly offensive. And, the skill that's on our roster right now is second to none. There's a lot of talent there for us to work with. And a lot of things that we can do in order to be successful on the ice, and that our scouting staff and our GM did an excellent job of giving us the tools on the roster to be successful. I think, the one thing that stands out when people talk about my team is our culture and our identity. And what I mean by that is just the way that we approach every day. I think the fans in the city will see a representation of what Sioux Falls is, a hardworking community that's passionate and loves what they do. And I think that's where my teams have kind of separated themselves, and we've had some success in the way we approach every single day. And, we'll be a very disciplined team. We'll be a very structured team. And within that structure is all this skill that we've been surrounded with that hopefully leads to a lot of wins and a lot of goals. And it's going to be an exciting brand. So, some of my influences to get me to that point, I played for a guy named Larry Corville in the minor leagues when I was in the East Coast League, who preached his culture and an identity that guys loved coming to the rink. They loved being around each other, that family-type atmosphere that everybody felt included. And that went with the front office to our fans. With our players, it'll be our billet families, which is the most important, vital piece to our success, is where these players live. They come from all over the world and live with these families. And everyone's going to feel a part of Stampede hockey and what we do on the ice, and we will represent the organization to the highest standard. And I have a bit of a militaristic background, so we'll be very structured, and I think people will see that and respectful and great in the community. And I think all that stuff leads into on-ice success. And that started with Larry as a mentor of mine. Jordy Kinnear is a guy that I've leaned on a ton in terms of X's and O's and how to be successful at a high level. He's the head coach of the AHL team in Charlotte. We actually drafted his son on Monday in phase 1. He's a highly talented player. But those guys have kind of helped me mold my coaching style and my philosophy, and it's kind of a family first. Everyone's held accountable to the same standard. And on the ice, we want to score more than the other team. And I tell people all the time, our goalies don't like to hear it, but I'd rather win 7-4, 7-5 than 2-0. So I think fans can expect a highly offensive team that's exciting to watch.
Very exciting. All sorts of history in the community. 3-time Clark Cup champion Sioux Falls Stampede. New head coach Ryan Cruthers, our guest here on the Friday edition of Overtime. I got to ask you this question, Coach, because obviously there's the fun that we have in town with the Wiener Dogs. Is there any chance that there's a requirement that the head coach of the Sioux Falls Stampede purchase and own a Wiener Dog or two during their tenure?
I'm not opposed to it.
Okay.
I'd have to lean on Jim. Jim's obviously super passionate, our president, about Wiener Dogs. And that night I got to experience one so far. It's such an amazing night, and it's a great cause, obviously. And then this year being tied, the New York Yankees are my favorite baseball team. To see the Yankees tied into the Wiener Dog stuff and Aaron Judge and those things, yeah, it might not be too hard to convince me to adopt a Wiener Dog here this season.
Hey, I'm going to hold you to that. I might actually end up partnering or something, find the Humane Society and get you a Wiener Dog in the household of new head coach Ryan Cruthers. Before we dive into some fun rapid-fire stuff, I want to get your take on the new Utah NHL team. They've got 20 potential nicknames. Is there one? I don't know if you've looked at this. Is there one that you really like? I'll give you some examples here. The Utah Powder, the Utah Mammoth, the Mountaineers, the Black Diamonds, the Caribou, the Frost, the Venom, the Squall, the Outlaw, or you could be boring and like the Utah HC, the Utah Hockey Club. Do any of those do it for you? What is your dream mascot for our neighbors to the west?
I don't have any. You know, I actually played for the Utah Grizzlies in the ECHL coming out of college, so I was in Salt Lake City there. So I'm kind of a biased. I'm a Utah Grizzly fan because I played there, but it is cool to see pro hockey there. They have a passionate fan base. I think the team will do great. As far as the name goes, the Black Diamond thing sounded pretty cool, something different.
Yep.
But my oldest son and my youngest is getting to that point, but he loves logos and names. I'd have to ask him and lean on him. He loves that stuff.
Oh, that's always the best place to go. Also the best place to go to pick an NCAA tournament bracket as well is always your kids. Pick by color, pick by what mascot would eat the other one. Usually does better than the experts in March Madness. We're joined by new Sioux Falls Stampede head coach Ryan Cruthers. It's rapid fire time, Ryan. Let me know a little bit more about you with the answers here. People will pretty much get to know you pretty well with your preferences. First things first, pretty easy. It's a lob up. You can't be wrong. Both are good, but one probably better than the others. Coke or Pepsi? What's the preference?
Coke.
Okay, that's the right answer in my eyes. As we look to something that is paired well with a Coke, any kind of pizza goes well with any kind of soft drink beverage like Coke or Pepsi. What are your ideal pizza toppings, and does pineapple belong on pizza?
So, yeah, you just took one of them. I ordered one of these during our draft on Tuesday. I like jalapenos and pineapple.
Wow.
And bacon.
Hey.
So I do think it belongs on pizza, and it is one of my go-tos.
I got to tell you this because I know we talked a little bit about North Carolina off the air. I used to work at a place called Mellow Mushroom. They need to put one here in Sioux Falls because they got all sorts of pineapple, jerk chicken, jalapenos, everything on the pies down there. Love Mellow Mushroom. Let's talk favorite foods. Is there one particular meal or item that comes to mind as your favorite food, Coach?
Well, I will say in Sioux Falls, my favorite dish is the shepherd's pie at the Blarney Stone.
Nice.
I think I had 6 of them last week. I definitely love shepherd's pie, but I am just a basic steak and sweet potato guy for the most part.
Steak and sweet potatoes. I'm on board, man. Sweet potatoes, very underrated. Day off activity for you. You're away from hockey. You're away from the ice. What are you doing with or without the family to occupy your free time if you have any free time?
It's golf. I think anyone that knows me knows probably my next greatest passion is golf if I'm doing an activity. If not, it's watching baseball. I think those are my two things that I can do. I got a lot of time spent on my kids' youth hockey nowadays. They keep me busy, but if anyone's ever looking for me and I'm not in the hockey rink, it's usually the golf cart. I got to ask this. I'm going to add in an 11th rapid-fire question just because we're talking golf. What's the handicap looking like these days? It's going to be better than mine, so no pressure. It's an 8 right now. Wow. It's an 8. All right. So it's not bad. Spending a year, this past year in Carolina, I was able to get the handicap down more than it was when I was in Sioux Falls. I was playing golf year-round here, so it was pretty good for the golf game. We're talking with new Sioux Falls Stampede head coach Ryan Cruthers. Friday edition of Overtime right here on ESPN 102.3 AM 1000 KSOO. Making our way through the rapid-fire questions now. Dream vacation. You can go beach. You can go mountains. You can go international.
Where are you going for a dream vacation, Coach?
You know what? It's a great question because it's been such a long time since I've had a vacation with all the hockey, but it would definitely be like an Aruba, a tropical island type getaway on the beach, away from a hockey rink for once. But it's been a long time since I've had one. But yeah, it'd be a beach.
Okay, moving forward with rapid fire. I think you've already said this a couple times. Maybe you'll surprise me though. Favorite non-hockey sport? Is it baseball? Is it golf or something else?
It's baseball. I loved playing as a kid, and then hockey obviously took over, but it's baseball.
Okay, here's an important question. We got nothing but important ones the rest of the way. What is the best hockey movie that you've seen? You can choose realism. You can choose entertainment. You can choose The Mighty Ducks, which is up there for me. What's the best hockey movie, Coach?
Slapshot.
Okay, that is an absolute classic as well. Definitely an easy answer for you. Another Paramount question. We've had a lot of coaches answer this right, some non-committal, and very few have answered this wrong. There's one right answer. Dogs or cats, Coach?
It's dogs.
Yes, love it, love it. Great job. Last one here. You've been all over the map. You've been to Chicago. You've been to North Carolina, here in Sioux Falls. We haven't really talked about hometown or sports preferences. When it comes to pro sports, you mentioned the Yankees. That's your baseball team. Where do you go for football? Where do you go for pro hockey?
So I was born and raised in New York, right outside of New York City on Long Island. So I'm a New Yorker and pull for my home teams in New York. I have lived all over, so I am a little biased, and I do cheer for some other ones. But if it's football, grew up a Giants fan. My cousin actually became a kicker for the Jets for 7 years, so we cheered for both.
Wow.
Yankees in baseball, Knicks in basketball, so Islanders when it comes to hockey.
Okay, all good choices there moving forward. Of course, you'd rather be a Giants fan than a Jets fan any day of the week over the last, 50, 60, 70 years since the Jets last were relevant and won a Super Bowl with Joe Namath back in the early 60s. But that's it for you as far as the rapid fire goes, Coach. Always great to talk to you. We're excited to talk to you moving forward as you crank it up for the next season. All the best to you. Welcome back to Sioux Falls. Thanks for the time today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. That's another strong rapid-fire performance. New Sioux Falls Stampede head coach Ryan Cruthers. Looking forward to having him on the show in the near term again soon. All things Sioux Falls Stampede, it's easy to find. sfstampede.com. And great answers there. A definitive on the dog. Slapshot, the best hockey movie ever. And it ain't close, I guess, with Coach Ryan Cruthers. Great stuff there. And a great way to tee us up for the final segment of the week. When we come back, there's a lot to get to. It's a beefy version, a fully loaded version of the good, the bad, and the ugly on tap. We hit that next, and then we hit the so long button. Enjoy the weekend. Got to squeeze in the good, the bad, the ugly first. We'll do that next on Overtime.
You want more of Overtime? It's all on the podcast. Free with the app or online at ESPN Sioux Falls. Overtime with Bert Ramin on ESPN 102.3 and AM 1000 KSOO.
Right back with you. It's the final segment of the week of Overtime, Friday edition of the show. Thanks so much for tuning us in all week long here on ESPN 102.3 AM 1000 KSOO. We're tuned up, ready to rumble, and ready to send you back in with the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Who's been the problem child today? Displayed their ugly side, whined a bit too much, and is now setting a bad example? Bert is calling out today's headline makers with the good, the bad, and the ugly.
First things first, Utah's getting a new NHL hockey team, and Toronto is getting a WNBA team. We saw this coming as far as expansion goes. We didn't know where was most likely for it to happen, but Toronto has been awarded a WNBA franchise that will start play as early as 2026, according to multiple reports, when it will become the league's first team outside of the United States. The team will be owned by Kilmer Sports Incorporated, which is headed by Toronto billionaire Larry Tannenbaum. Tannenbaum is a minority owner and chairman of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, which owns the Maple Leafs and the Raptors, among other teams. The new Toronto club would be the 14th team in the WNBA. An expansion franchise in Golden State is set to join the league in 2025. An official announcement is expected May 23rd in Toronto. If you're not paying attention to college baseball, I don't know what to tell you. One of the best sports out there, one of the best activities to follow at the collegiate level, and Georgia's Charlie Condon hit his 34th home run of the season last night against South Carolina to set the NCAA record for the most home runs in the BBCOR era. What the heck is that? That's called the Bat Ball Coefficient Restitution era, which took effect back in 2011 when college baseball switched to composite bats. Oklahoma State's Pete Incaviglia, Pete I holds the all-time record with 48 home runs back in 85, but Charlie Condon doing it with the new bats to the tune of a record-breaking 34th home run last night. Now on to the bad. Quarterback Jaden Daniels went 4 spots ahead of former LSU teammate Malik Neighbors in the draft. He's also counting on finishing ahead of him when it comes to being named the NFL's Offensive Rookie of the Year. Otherwise, it could cost him $10,000. There's a bet between the two former college teammates on which one will win Offensive Rookie of the Year. However, there's a chance that the bet could not happen. One team source said the education for rookies on the gambling policy will take place during the rookie minicamp, which begins on Thursday with orientation sessions. The bet could end up being canceled shortly afterward. In fact, it probably will by the No Fun League, despite the fact that it's a handshake, wink, wink, friend agreement on $10,000, but it's still gambling in the NFL, and you got to have a bad guy in the NFL a good job at being that guy. Pro Football Hall of Fame defensive back Jimmy Johnson, not the current analyst at Fox Sports, but Pro Football Hall of Fame defensive back Jimmy Johnson, 3-time All-Pro and a member of the All-Decade team of the 1970s, has passed away at the age of 86. Johnson's family told the Pro Football Hall of Fame that he passed away on Wednesday night. Johnson was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame back in 1994 and played his entire career with San Francisco, appeared in 213 games, more than any other Niners player at the time of his retirement. The Niners drafted Johnson 6th overall back in 1961 out of UCLA. Pro Football Hall of Famer, rest in peace, 86 years old, Jimmy Johnson. Now on to the ugly news as he prepares for his first season at Arkansas. John Calipari said he won't stack his rosters with an abundance of talent, which was his tactic during his lengthy tenure at Kentucky. On the latest episode of his Ways to Win podcast with former Oregon State head coach Craig Robinson this week, Calipari said the turnover in college basketball in the transfer portal era has changed his philosophy on assembling rosters. I think it's more the change of scenery that did that, coach, but here's what he had to say. You might think I'm crazy, but I told my staff I only want to have 8 or 9 guys. Calipari told Robinson, who's now the executive director of the National Association of Basketball Coaches, they're leaving anyway, and why would I develop a kid for someone else? Why would I do that? Because the kid can help you win championships, coach. Some of the best coach teams, some of the best talented teams, most talented teams out there year in and year out lose because they're not deep, because they're not focused, because they're not well coached, because they're not bought in. I think that's doing a disservice to the potential 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th guy on the roster down there at Arkansas that's looking to represent you, win you basketball games, do the best for himself, and elevate himself to the pro level as well. 8 or 9 guys. I can't wait for this to blow up in Cal's face when he's griping about lack of depth and having midseason tryouts when Arkansas gets dinged up this year, next year, or the year after. Bad look there for Coach Cal at a new home down in Fayetteville. That's the show. We'll say so long. Have a great weekend, Sioux Falls. We'll talk to you on Monday, 11 to 1. More of Overtime then. Have a great weekend. Thanks for riding along with us all week long right here on ESPN Sioux Falls.